record. Welcome back, everyone, to
Record again.
After show, outro, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna have a little bit of chat about drifting, and I'll answer any of the cast's questions that they have left over, anything that they want to know, secrets, etc. And I'll also answer some chat questions as well, and anything that you guys want to talk about.
I have the biggest question, but should I save that?
I mean, I'm happy to address pretty much anything.
Okay. It's the big question. Is it evolution or is someone doing this?
It's essentially a stagnation of spirit, pretty much. So it's partially psychic. Like, humans have started to evolve psychic abilities to a certain degree. It's very, very latent and very basic. The more people you have crammed in onto worlds, the more chance there is of a break and people just kind of like connecting up and being affected by extreme emotions. And because the setting is that humans have pushed out as far as they can, everyone feels a bit listless and they're just drifting through space doing nothing. So,
I mean, the plot hole there.
probably, yeah. But
We started to evolve fucking telepathy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what saves us.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it worked for Corrine, and there are examples of people who have managed to push past that feeling. I don't know if you picked it up, but Romy's also doomed like the captain. As a fun little extra fact, all of you had a moment where you could have started feeling that really nasty pull into oblivion.
Ooh, when was it? When was it for each of us?
I know when it was for me.
Yeah, Colton was the
I know when
reveal
it
about
was.
the military.
Yeah.
Corrine was the moment dealing with the death of the Blue Horizon station and Jam. Nomi was dealing with Rohikyo and getting past that, and also starting to feel her feelings and stuff that she was kind of suppressing. And Astrid didn't actually have one.
I think Astrid's moment is right now when the show is ending.
See, the thing is Astrid's... me and Safi had a chat, and we intentionally started Astrid as someone who had the horizon in front of her and was moving towards it. Everyone else was running away from things. So Astrid's moment where she could have gone down a bad path was when the captain died, but she dealt with that, and she dealt with it well, so she wasn't even running away from anything. Whereas everyone else had hit speed bumps, felt lost and not sure what to do, and basically ended up on the ship through sheer chance. So you were all at risk of losing your way.
It didn't happen in the show, but character creation, it also happened for Colton when he went to the Merchant Navy.
Yeah.
Which is really clever. It's really clever.
Have we
It's really
talked
good.
about how?
It was really fucking good.
Yeah.
So-
I love the character creation in this show.
Oh, the character creation
It's so
for Traveler's
cool.
so fun. Even if you never play Traveler,
Just make a character.
Yeah.
make a character with a couple of friends. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Thing is,
It's
after
really
you start
cool.
making a handful of characters, you'll be like, yeah, I want to play this now.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
for sure. I also kept things, in a very specific way. Like Traveler, you can be like really low tech without even much space travel, or super high tech, and you can be like interstellar warp travel. So they've got you covered on all bases on that. It's pretty cool. I decided that for what I wanted to do, I needed an isolated area that was like too far away to have proper travel between all stars and everything. But I wanted it to feel a little bit like before they found the new world. on Earth. Like, you can travel between places, but it takes weeks and ages, and it really does feel like a bit of a slog to go between planets and things like that. So, any other questions or things that would like to know?
Thanks for oh, sorry, go on.
Sorry.
No,
Oh, no, I was just going to circle back quickly to the character creation thing, because I very nearly didn't play Astrid as a character. Like, so like how you make your characters, you do this whole, it's almost like playing like a mini game for the system.
Yeah.
And you're rolling these dice to then determine what things your character has experienced, or you want to aim for this. Okay, roll, see if you actually achieve it or not. And I had this idea of playing very much a medic character who for some reason kept on fucking failing to get into med school over and over.
Yeah.
And then I ended up with this sort of, that's how I came up with the phrase, like, oh, but they're in the mid-30s, they're old as fuck. That's what I ended up saying to Ship.
Yeah, like, she kept trying, and she got to the point where she was in her 30s, and I was like, they're not that old, they still have their life ahead of them, and Safi's like, no, they're old as fuck, and I'm like, sitting here like 38 or so, I'm like, oh, cheers, yeah.
I didn't mean it.
But,
mean it like that, but I think I came in with a bit of a preconceived idea of like what I wanted to be and like who I wanted to play, and the dice just really wasn't letting me have that. So I was like, okay, you know what? I said to Sheepy, I was like, I'm really not feeling the idea of this character. So I was like, how about we start again? And I'm just gonna go where the dice takes me and see what I end up with, and that's how I end up with Astrid. And
isn't that such a mood for
cool.
life, though? I had this idea of where I wanted to go, and the dice said no.
Yeah.
So I went with the flow, and I'm a lot more happier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
welcome to
like
drifting.
we could have kept on like rolling and like advancing my character, but we felt like no, this is like a good place to like keep her. And see where she goes from.
Yeah, we were talking about having her go a bit further, a bit deeper into the age, but we were like, it'd be fun to have a character in the setting who is starting out, and she's like had a few mistakes and stuff, but she's not running from anything.
We live much longer in this universe as well. So.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted was the ability to still have a chance to turn your life around, even when you hit like your later years. And also, the character creation is so fun. Sometimes you just want to keep going a bit further, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks to get to like 80 and be like, my whole life is gone.
I've already rolled my entire life away.
People in Vegas be like, so yeah. Any others that you'd like to ask on or touch on or ask about? One thing I can say while you're all thinking, I did intentionally try and mirror the beginning and end of the show a little bit with the ships, the abandoned ships. I was like, we have an abandoned ship at the beginning, we have one at the end. Just keep people in mind of like what's happening around and that this still is ongoing.
I have a question for Safi. Well, for Astrid's story.
Yeah.
Does your family go to the ranch?
I don't.
If you don't know, then that's
I'll be honest. I don't know. Like as Astrid, like initially I was thinking, like, okay, got a little bit of time to make this decision, and if that's where the show has ended, Astrid still hadn't made her decision yet. She was still very torn between, do I run and take this world ship and try and grab on to the potential of a change and the potential of breaking that cycle, or do I just stick it out on the ship with the people that I love, whether we meet the end like that or not? And she was still torn, but she knew she had time, so she was going to stay where she was until she figured it out.
Yeah, which is sometimes just what you need.
There was basically in 5 minutes you changed my entire idea of what Colton was going to do at the end of the, because I'm like, no, he's just going to stay in the crew, like this is his family now. Then you'd like, hey, do you want to save the universe? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Colton was like, yes.
And Colton's always seemed content and happy on the ship. But at the same time, it always felt like he had unfinished business to a certain degree. Like he, I don't know. I always got the impression like he was happiest when he was in command, when he was in the army, when he was doing things he felt was worthwhile. And now that he has the knowledge, he can go back and improve things and help out and
do engagements where there isn't such tragedy,
do it better, do it right, and yeah.
but still have this because they're doing the conflict all wrong. Millions of people are dying.
Yeah. There was a moment when I was surprised when I thought you were doing a Colton joke saying like, I hand in my resignation. And then when I realized you were serious, I was like, yeah, no, that feels...
Yeah, completely
feels
changed my
right.
mind. In that little expository where like you convinced Colton, it clicked in my brain, but I'm like, okay, this Colton hasn't caught up with this yet. But then there was, I can't remember what it was. He was just explaining it, and she was like more and more apathetic as she was going on because she's done. And I'm like, oh, I get it. Well, Colton was like, yeah, I get it. There needs to be a new one.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not giving up.
And, you know, like, for the director, you know, it wasn't that she was unfeeling or that she didn't care.
She'd just been
making
those choices.
She's just been
That was the
drained
job.
for so long.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to represent, was someone who was hard to be angry at, because, like, she's not some scheming power.
I mean, she is.
You know, she
but-
is, but she's
Straight about what
Keeping
she's doing.
tabs on you.
yeah, she's not some power hungry. You know, it's not not a big.
It's doing it for the right reasons, weirdly. And that's what makes it
It's
interesting.
very morally grey, is what I would say.
Yes.
At no point am I, as a person, taking any side in that whole conversation.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the fuck the right choice is, or, you know, like, whether it's good or bad or anything like that.
I think she came off as if she had some nobility to her, and that's why Colton gave her a noble death rather than in the face.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I went, no, open casket.
Yeah.
in the chest.
Show a little respect when I shoot her in the chest.
Yeah, essentially.
So
Sorry if anyone else wanted to shoot her, by the way.
I wanted to ask him more questions.
do you have any, like, I can maybe answer some of them, if Astrid doesn't need to know, if you're more curious.
Oh no, it's stuff that I already know. It's just stuff that Ash wants to know.
Oh,
She's like,
okay.
oh, like, is that why, you know, like, my home station was invading this big old plan, and that's why it's being changed, and that's why it's moving away.
Essentially, one of the things they realized when they were researching, like, the effects of announcing construction of a world ship was that any setback could have the fatal repercussions. It's why they did it as a test first, and why they chose people who were reasonably psychically dull, because they wanted to see if it would affect everyone. And why they split them into groups, and why they had them, like, competing against each other. They, like, raised the stress, they lowered the stress, you know, all that kind of thing. And then when the world ship was destroyed, they all lost complete hope, and, you know, there was a cascade in with all the ones who were left. And as you know, the only survivor was Fane. And yeah, it's essentially, there was a bit that we didn't really get to, which is that Fane pretty much the only thing he really wanted after that was to, like, choose how he goes out, to, like, put some meaning on it, which is why he was happy when he died, saving Astrid and Kareen. Yes, you know.
I did try to wait with the shooting as well. I think it was half an hour, Sheepy, when I messaged when Colton decided to shoot her. I'm like, okay, I don't want to, go, oh, I just immediately do this thing.
Kapow!
Yeah.
The only thing I should probably talk about is like, where this show came from, and why this show, which is I was making a Rogue Trader I was planning on doing a show of Rogue Trader, and I had some people, some of you guys had already said, "Yay, space stuff, cool." And then I listened to a song that sounds awfully like it's very similar. It's kind of like a lo-fi type song. It sounds a bit like this one, the theme song for drifting. And I was listening to it while I was writing for Rogue Trader, and before I knew it, I'd written out everything that happened in this show, like the bare bones, basic plot. I'd written all that out in about 20 minutes.
Wow.
And I just had this idea, and I was like, I want to do this. So I messaged everyone in the chat, and I was like, hey guys, so Rogue Trader was maybe going to be a thing, but I kind of want to do this now. Is everyone cool with that? And they're like, yep, go for it. So, but yeah, so essentially whatever you get out of drifting, that's between you and your god, existent or non-existent. But my intentions for this show was to highlight my own perspective on things like depression and anxiety, and essentially one of the things that if anyone's had like reasonably strong anxiety and depression and stuff, like it's always that feeling of waking up having to climb that hill again, like every day seems like an uphill struggle, and no matter how well you do, it always kind of like it like clips away at you every day, where you're just like, it's such a grind and everything's like weighing you down and all that type of thing. And I remember quite a long time ago when I was staying at my folks' place and I was home alone, I just had a really bad day and just like ended up on the phone to one of my mates feeling like really shitty and really down and kind of like really out of sorts, and just like nothing was going well, and all that kind of shit. And not to go into too much detail because that's personal, you all can stay out of my personal thoughts, but one of the things I realized was that it really annoys me when people say things don't matter, as if it's like a reason to give up. Because from that point on, whenever I got to a point where I was like, nothing really matters, everything's pointless, we're all gonna die anyway, all that kind of like really, what's it called? There's a word for it when you feel like, not existential, god damn it, nihilist. The whole nihilism of everything. Because I always I started to think from that point on, like, if nothing matters, then it really doesn't matter. I can keep going, like, today sucks.
Essentialism.
Yeah. It's like, today sucks, maybe tomorrow will be better, and, quite often it is. Especially if you have a really shit day, you're like, well, it can only go up from here, so I'm looking forward to what's coming. So a lot of the like anxiety and depression, mostly when it was like really bad, when my thyroid was at its worst, was very much about getting past a bad day, so bring on the good ones, kind of thing. And it's probably not for everyone, and I'm sure people took other things away from the show because I essentially intended it to be very like, hey, this is my thoughts, but here's everyone else's thoughts. Here's a whole load of crew members who are going to live their lives. We're going to stay with them. And hopefully all of you guys are happy, because I don't really need to know where your characters go past this, because that's not really the point. The point is to see them go through this part of their life and see them like run into a few walls and get past them, and like grow a little bit and keep going. And
that's what I kind of found fascinating about the different ways that people ended this.
Yeah,
because for me personally, I've made no secret of it. I suffered from severe depression, still do, and the realization from me that came from that whole nothing really matters thing is that's not the important part. Like, it cannot matter on a global scale. Nothing, of course, nothing fucking matters on a global scale.
Yeah.
Does it matter to you? You can make it matter to you, but in order to get over that hurdle, you have to figure out what you is
Yeah.
and what's important to that. And Colton found out at the very end of that what was important to him, and Astrid is still figuring it out, and she's decided that for her, doing what's right for her rather than another group or some larger concept, she wants to figure out a more personal view of that. Colton's doing it on a larger scale. Nomi, I've got no doubt, is going to end up taking that job because for her, she hasn't quite worked through that yet. But because her entire life was always about being in service of others, that I don't know if anybody actually grasped that, but that was entirely Nomi's job. Was doing the shit that other people shouldn't have to burden themselves with.
One thing that we didn't find out directly about Nomi is that she was a sin eater. Yeah. The sin eaters were a section of Cornerstone that would be employed by people who had given up, who had done too many bad things, or to protect people, and they would hunt down or end people's lives who couldn't go on anymore, basically, who were suffering too much.
Ooh.
So it was essentially strategic. It's not even aggressive. It's strategic assassination, but for morally
it's like
good
it's
reasons.
It's like psychic trauma, just like, you know, suturing. It's like scalpel precision, dealing with people who have gone too far and who could like spread the problem, which was the entire point of Cornerstone, was to give people a reason via religion and belief and all that type of thing.
So that's why when old dude came to Garden,
and he asked, he essentially
asked.
He told her, "I know you're a sin eater. Please kill me."
Or kill the medic.
The medic had essentially been infected for a while. And like his entire reason for existence was to get into the cordoned off zone to help people he loved in there. And when he lost everything, he had no more reason to keep going. So he went to sleep and just couldn't get back up.
So yeah, that's why she took the job in the end.
Yeah.
Because if she doesn't know what she wants, if she doesn't have enough of a concept of self yet, now is the right time to do that, because nobody else should be burdened with having to do that job. And it doesn't make a difference to her.
That's the difference between why Colton is taking that job. It's because he's always believed that he can do it better.
Yeah.
But I think he's learned to trust that other people can do good shit too.
I'd like to think they end up working together on and off.
Yeah, I can see that. If you're the head, and yeah, I can see that. And I'd be like, no, that's 50 million people dead.
Can you imagine like the weird fucking meetings they'd end up having with everybody? Like, what is it with those two? Why is he cocking his gun and why is she laughing? It's weird.
Oh, this is when I laugh.
Did they sleep together? This feels odd.
So here's a scooch of a fun fact. I'm completely open to doing a season 2 of Drifting. It'd probably be about 150 years in the future, after bridges were established and there were new places to go and explore and discover. If I did it.
Cool.
And and it would 100% be a different cast. Like this cast, you know, these characters
would be 150 plus years old.
Like
Kill me.
there would be a completely, you know, new scenario, new characters. These characters, we're not coming back to these characters because their stories don't need to be revisited.
That's the point, isn't it, of the whole show?
With the point of the show.
That's the point.
And
do you want to know something bad though?
What's that?
Karina's the reason she took the job.
Really?
Yeah, she wasn't quite sure until she made her verbalize it. Because all Nomi's stuff has been done in her own head. All her decisions are made on her own. And it's the first time somebody's gone, what do you want to do? And she's had to express it. And in doing that, even though she was saying, I don't know, in saying it, she was like, oh, and that's why I have to do it. Cool.
That's so
Or,
cool.
please don't kill my garden. I worked so hard.
Well, Kareen would definitely stay on the ship, as long as Astrid and Romy did, and potentially even beyond. I think to her, the whole concept of saving the world or humanity is just too big.
Yeah.
Like, she can't. It always was the whole dad's company, like, responsibility for the world thing. It was just always too much
Oh
for
my
her to
God.
wrap her head around.
Oh, did he figure something out?
Yeah.
Which bit?
Every single character has the ability to change something big. You got the heiress to this massive corporation,
Yeah.
someone to take over the head, someone who is high up in the military, and then someone who came from what is going to be a world ship.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking hell.
That's so cool.
Someone who also has contacts to the core of the underground on the world ship as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Kareen would have kept pushing for exploration and things like that. If they did build a bridge, she would have gone across it.
Yeah.
In 90 years.
Yeah, like whenever, however long, if she could.
I
Like-
really hope that Astrid's family does go to the farm, though, because Colton would really miss Astrid.
Yeah, I like. One thing I would say is like, for example, I like the idea of Kareen taking her final trip in a scout ship on like her 120th birthday, as she's like, you know, just about holding on to life, through the bridge into a completely new star system, and, you know, to go and explore and stuff. However, at the same time, I don't want to like lock down all the things that happened afterwards, because
Anything could
knows?
happen.
Anything could happen. That would have been her thinking at that time,
Yeah,
at least.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what she would have wanted to do, because she wants to help, but the best way she can wrap her head around a way to help is to be a part of the push to something different, something new, and to keep finding those small joys in every day, because otherwise what's the point, right?
So I'm gonna open the floor last time to all four of you. If you'd like to ask me any other questions, any final like wonders or connections you've made or anything like that.
Why was Kimber killed? And by who?
So Kimber and your aunt were Blue Horizon trying to disrupt the support of the survival faction.
It's the same thing.
Same with the asteroid attack in the asteroid field, and a few other things as well. Essentially, you know, you need some kind of bad guys, but I didn't think we were ever really going to kick it much with Blue Horizons, because unless you guys found out properly about them and what they were doing, they weren't going to be coming after you. So
The thing is, Blue Horizons now have a reason to continue. Right? They have a goal, something they're working towards.
yeah.
So essentially, those are cured until the next road bump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And any others? I'm trying to think if there's anything like, you know, proper needed to be talked about. I think that's the majority of it. I there was a possibility of Romy dying. If none of you went back to the ship with him, he was going to fly out into space, and that darkness would consume him, and him and the ship would never be seen again. I didn't.
Just all go be Great Lakes farmers. It'd be so fun.
Honestly,
Astrid would make an amazing Great Lakes farmer.
I could see the majority of you just being happy being on the farm, and just, you know. I think.
Oh my god, we sent them out to live on the farm. Oh no.
Well, the farm is in the reason Romy asked Colton about the farm was for Astrid's family. If she doesn't want to go on the world ship, and also as a sidebar, it's a possibility that anyone staying on the ship would end up going on the world ship with Astrid and everyone else who heads off. I said the whole conflict with the EAP and Rising of Tension was partially to keep people interested in the possibility of another war and all that kind of thing. Just kind of ease off the lack of anything happening, like everyone basically, stagnating away, but also to give them an excuse to make the EAP, put all those mechanics in everyone so they can start converting the ship into a world ship and have it go off as the first one. There are others being built, but in secret. And one of them was destroyed by Blue Horizons, but that was obviously wasn't reported, so we didn't find out about it. So, I would say, before we finish up, chat, if there's any, strong questions that you'd like answered in the video, ask them now, and I'll do my best to address them. Also, ask the characters. Also, ask the cast if you'd like to ask them anything. Probably tomorrow, I'll be in the chat. I'll be in the Discord if anyone wants to talk about things, and I can answer your questions personally and that kind of thing. Sheepy, what was up with the dude on Terra Firma and his weird luck? Just a character. Oh, that was actually a Patreon character. So one of my patrons on the Wandering Inn, we all made characters that, the journalist was a patron character as well that Duzapin Dan made. This character was made by Edris Rex, which is why his name is Edranius King, because Edris Rex, yeah. So when he made that character, he made a crime lord on Terra Firma Station, and he kept pushing his luck. I kept going like, "Do you want to do this?" And he's like, "Yeah." Every role he made, he succeeded by massive amounts. And it got to the point where he was like, all right, let's finish the character there. This is great. And I'm like, or you could go another round and maybe die. And he's like, okay, let's try. And then he did even better. So I was like, just a little bit of fun. Have a character who's just ridiculously lucky and really full of himself because he knows things are always going to go his way. Guns will jam. The coins will always land the way he wants them to land, the way he calls them, all that kind of thing. Just
I love it.
Just representing what happened to the character creation, because it's literally what happened. And there's the patron, if anyone's interested. Thank you, Safi.
Your support is really helpful, and we super appreciate that shit.
Yeah.
Although I have to question Sheepy, like, why have you given me money? And you're like, it's your pay.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome.
What is pay?
What is pay?
What is pay?
Any other people in the chat have questionings? Any more questions? If not, we can end and let everyone run off about their business.
I'm gonna turn my PC off.
I might jump in the shower.
I've got to go to a roleplay funeral.
Ooh.
Gonna go for a run.
Well, I'm glad I could keep things light before a roleplay funeral.
Thanks.
Oh God.
I'm gonna, as if I wasn't dehydrated enough. I'm gonna cry so much tonight. Ridiculous.
I just send you through an existential crisis before you go to a roleplay
I'm
funeral.
already there, to be honest. The base level after this week.
Yeah.
I spent 3 hours sending sad telegrams yesterday. It was great.
Was this a 40k show in disguise? No. I'm tempted to do a sci-fi show where, like, one thing I've always wanted to do as a show is have an alien invasion on Earth that eventually turns out to be the Imperial Guard and the Space Marines. And that kind of thing. I think that'd be hilarious.
Cool.
The reveal of like the helmet coming off, and you're like, oh god, alien. Oh wait, no, that's just a person. What are you doing? But no, this was never a 40k show in disguise. As fun as that could be, I always knew from the start that I wanted to take this very seriously, and that's a bit too silly. So
Okay, it's very silly.
Yeah.
It's strength.
So yeah, I think that's everything. If any of you are interested, and you want to talk about the show, I may be on the Discord today, but definitely tomorrow. I'll be on the Discord. I'll give a little shout out, and you can jump into the chat, the voice chat, and like talk about things. Yeah. I'd say the show, aside from the song, was inspired by my love of Firefly, The Expanse, and Cowboy Bebop. For anyone who's watched all three of them, the biggest like influence was definitely Cowboy Bebop.
I took a lot of Firefly influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Firefly and The Expanse. Also, if you've never watched The Foundation, you need to.
Oh, okay.
Actually, really good. It's like if you take sort of the level of production of Firefly and increase it to just the level of production. I'm not talking story or seriousness or anything, but just the level of production from Firefly to The Expanse, especially in the later seasons. Like Foundation is like The Expanse to Firefly. Foundation is to The Expanse. It's like another step beyond.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And the story's really interesting.
I'll give it a look. I'm always down for. I mean, the books are always better. I'm always down for a sci-fi series to kind of tie me over. Oh yes. Yeah. So expect in the next couple of days, because I have a bit of free time, the announcement tweet for the cast of Mage, which is not next Monday, but the Monday after. We're having a week break, and then we're back with Mage. It is going to be called Somnambulist, which means sleepwalker. And no Dragon Riders this Friday, but the Friday after there will be. We'll be carrying on the story, because I know we hit a certain point which is very dramatic and there's a cliffhanger, so didn't do that on purpose or anything. Yeah, honestly, thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed doing drifting, and
Dope.
I'm not a robot.
yeah,
I love this
Man,
show.
I was wrong.
I'm gonna miss it. It's been so fun.
So,
Bye.
So, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with Mage, and keep an eye out. Just go join the Discord, take a look at the Patreon if you want to support, and everyone else, just go give them some love. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Hey.
Where do I move in this world? Could you please tell me what the hell I'm doing for it? Bring me to my knees. I'm so stupid. Would you tell me honestly if I wasn't meant to be what I see when I dream? Where do I move in this world? Could you please tell me what the hell I'm doing for it? Bring me to my knees. I'm so stupid. Would you tell me honestly if I wasn't meant to be what I see when I dream? It's a big, big world out there. Plenty possibilities. All of them is killing me soft. I want the real me figured out right here, right now. Is this lifestyle the right style for me? Only with time will I see. But by then it'll be too late. Looking in the mirror at a stranger's face. If I wasn't right, would you tell me straight? Or would you let me? Where do I move in this world? Could you please tell me what the hell I'm doing for it? Bring me to my knees. I'm so stupid. Would you tell me honestly if I wasn't meant to be what I see when I dream? Where do I move in this world? Could you please tell me what the hell I'm doing for it? Bring me to my knees. I'm so stupid. Would you tell me honestly if I wasn't meant to be what I see when I dream? I want something great instead of all dismay, but I can't find my way. I fall on my face, I flatline my faith. I want all escape, let's throw it all away. Just like the thoughts I trade for a couple of bucks in this big bucket of love. I'm steady throwing my up, hoping for that 1 in 100. But fuck stressing the numbers. Pop this deck in your summer and see the inner of my head declog like a plunge. Y'all be akin to my feces, your best bet be the Bee Gees. The way you think living's staying alive. I got my head in my smile, but don't know where I'll fly. I'm just spreading my wings, I'm fine with taking my time. I used to rush it all out, I'm trying to slow it all down. Take my feet and lose ground, give them somewhere to hang. I always want it right now, trying to slow it all down. Take my mind and lose ground, watch it floating away, yeah. Where do I move in this world? Could you please tell me what the hell I'm doing for it? Bring me to my knees. I'm so stupid, would you tell me honestly if I wasn't meant to be what I see when I dream? Where do I move in this world? Could you please tell me what the hell I'm doing for it? Bring me to my knees. I'm so stupid, would you tell me honestly if I wasn't meant to be what I see when I dream?